Now it's time for the Let's Play where we actually get to focus on the game that's being played. It's not just cutscenes.
Rather than complaining about all the squishy noises.
Although we are still going to have a bit more cutscenes leading up to it because we gotta get the situation on why we're called out here in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's this Final Fantasy X looking auditorium.
You damn near hit that fucking police truck, Stone.
Like a glove.
It's gonna be very apparent, like, as it goes on, where it's like, you don't need to read much into the in-game files to realize that the zombie unit has a reputation of, like, being so reckless as to cause untold amounts of property damage.
Shocking.
What we know so far is that an unknown strike team attacked Dower Synthetics at 2100 hours. We busted in, barricaded inside, and turned off the grid. Everything would have gone smooth if the silent alarm wasn't triggered.
It always gets some.
How many?
2. Dower's CEO is arriving in 10 to 20 minutes. Their security detail is picking up the hardware right as we speak.
CEO? Shit.
Captain ordered to hunker down, waiting for the seats.
Gear up.
You heard Captain, right?
Seriously, just this is your. You're seriously thinking this is the right decision?
Bring in the wreck.
It looks like you've already got us covered.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that rack. Okay. I misread that situation.
Yeah. So, we got weapon customization to make up for the fact that, you know, we only have one main weapon and our sidearm, the Taker. You can, like, you basically got, like, MGS4 weapon customization with this shit.
MGS4 by way of Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. So as you can see, like, each part that you swap out changes the different statistics on, like, your rifle and your handgun. The game doesn't give you, like, a proper, full, like, detailed explanation as to what each category stands for. I generally just abide by what, like, how self-explanatory the wording on it is and just assume that it's correct.
Yeah, handling tends to mean, like, 10 different things between games. Okay. So I just assume that higher equals better, usually.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. So we got all our guns. Now let's just slash up these goons with our sword. And it is delightfully bloody.
Oh, yeah.
Good screams, too.
Not seen much in the way of dismemberment yet.
Oh, there will be. Especially, oh yeah, better watch out for grenades. That's actually one thing where, I know you asked about, like, the firearms, whether they were, like, better or worse than, like, they were in Devil's Third. I still maintain that, like, their purpose in battle is still about the same. The one thing that is changed for the better, I would say, is the usefulness of grenades once we get into them. We don't have any now because that's an upgrade that we have to first unlock, but as the game goes on, oh, you will appreciate what opportunities grenades provide.
Now, this is the most unintuitive layout I've ever seen for a fancy building like this. They must have been assuming that it was going to be in a game at some point.
Pretty much. Yeah, like that map that you saw there is no joke because it is literally the map of the level we're in. Anyway, that first encounter is designed to give us enough enough points that we can unlock our first ability, which is adrenaline. That's what, like, that glowing circle is. And much like with M'Baku in Devil's Third, doing melee attacks is what fills it up. And you got special kills that, unlike Devil's Third, you can actually manually engage them rather than them being automatic.
The finishing moves are, like, really well animated, I've got to say.
Definitely one of the strong parts of this game. And yeah, once you have full adrenaline and you click in both analog sticks, you take out your sidearm, shoot multiple enemies that all cause them to go into a stun, like, kind of finisher animation. then you press Y and B at the same time, like both face buttons to activate it. And the best part is that if there are more than one enemies that are able to be hit with a finishing move, you just need to press the button once, and all enemies that are in range will be automatically taken down.
The sword and pistol mode kind of just occurred to me what it reminds me of. It reminds me a hell of a lot of the movie Equilibrium.
A little bit, yeah.
With the gun kata.
Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of that vibe to it. For me, in gameplay terms, the way I've always kind of like viewed like the sidearm is that because it's not a weapon that you can manually aim, so it's essentially an extended melee tool. I view it similarly to how you could like throw shuriken in Ninja Gaiden to cancel out of attack animations, and how like shuriken canceling was like a viable, like it's a legitimate like advanced tactic for like kind of improving your combat.
Yeah,
and yes, here's a little memo basically mentioning we need to remind everyone that there is a restraining order on the zombie unit to not go within the premises of our property because they will fuck it up.
Whoopsie poopsie, I think is the term.
Yep. And here's our vocal introduction to the best character of the game. Or one of the best.
Vivian?
Gunsmith here, just in time to resupply your ammo. I'll also be monitoring and recording your progress, so don't be afraid to approach my drones when you see them.
Gunsmith Vivian Nuvonsfried, voiced by MGS5's Quiet, Stephanie Houston.
I thought the voice was familiar.
Yep.
She's found new friends since Kojima dumped her.
Yep,
Good for her.
and she is very involved in this game. Like I mentioned back in the diner scene that there was like a cover of Sure Knows Something by Kiss sung by Stephanie Houston. That is a recurring theme with many songs in this game. So there we go. We now got like an extended evasive dash as well as grenades finally. It's like very quickly, as you'll find, the way to getting skill points to unlock new abilities is by killing enemies, and it's funny because like when we did the Devil's Third Let's Play, I made an important note that I was playing it on the score attack difficulty rather than the intended single player mode because I felt that best demonstrated like how you were supposed to prioritize your like combat options between melee and ranged attacks.
Yeah, almost like it was the intended mode.
Yeah, like this does a similar by you could see like the 10 SP and like all those like the SP that you get that shows up just above the health bar in the bottom left. Like that, like every time you kill an enemy, that's how many skill points you get, and that amount changes depending on how they're dealt with. So I guess brief little bit of math, I guess, to explain it, since I am killing most of these enemies like in melee. Like since it's 10 points to start, assume that is like 100% point value. Like you kill with the katana, that is 10, that is 100%. But if you kill them with a gun, that gives you like 7 SP. So imagine it being reduced to like 2/3, I guess,
yeah.
Rounded up.
30% penalty.
Yeah. However, if you kill them with a headshot, which I do occasionally show. I don't think it's in this. Maybe it'll come up, but you'll possibly notice it. But a headshot kill gets you 11. So that's like a 10% bonus. And then follow that up with like a finishing move. I forget if it's 17 or 19 to start like with like these enemies, but it is a near 200% increase. So And obviously, when you're starting at this point in the game, you don't have all the tools necessary to like guarantee that you can maximize on the amount of finishing moves possible. Because every enemy has like an invisible stagger gauge, essentially, that builds up as you deal damage. Some attacks will deal more, obviously, if you set them up properly. Weirdly enough, damaging them with guns in certain areas, I believe, kind of like contributes to increasing the stagger gauge more.
The game's remarkably in-depth for its systems, which is all kinds of surprising. And,
yeah,
and then she fires a shotgun with it floating at her hands 5 foot.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We are only witnessing, you know, the most Eurojank Japanese game to ever exist.
Yeah, it's like if Stalker was done by Konami.
Yeah. Oh, I'd play the fuck out of that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we got like a second firearm. You can grab enemy firearms that they have a chance of dropping. Those are the ones that are signified by like the green outline. Yellow outline means those will provide ammo for your main weapon. Your main rifle you can never get rid of. So at most it's essentially you can get something that's similar to like if you were playing Devil's Third, where you have two firearms plus a single dedicated melee weapon.
Yeah.
Anyway, after this cutscene, we'll we'll thankfully be getting all of our ammo topped off by Gunsmith, because her drones act as the checkpoints in the level, and this leads to, I'm gonna say, one of those things where for modern audiences adds to a lot of divisiveness for this game, because like common wisdom, conventional thinking for a game like this where there's a lot of shooting and where it can be pretty tough is to have very strict autosaves that happen after every possible encounter.
Yeah.
This game does not do that. This game is insistent on you have your specified checkpoints and you have to survive until you get to the next one, in which you will get a full refill on health, refill on ammo, and grenades.
Does it also include your healing syringes as well? Because I've noticed you stabbing yourself in the arm with them.
Yes, your stim packs do also get refilled. In a way, I know I'm always loath to do this, you know me, but it is so prevalent in video games today, but you can see the obvious Dark Souls comparison with those being your bonfire.
Yeah.
The difference being you cannot go back to the bonfire itself to like top back off.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like, it is way more of a traditional checkpoint, where it is like, you're only going back to the checkpoint if you manually reset or you die.
Yeah. No, it's weird seeing games that actually do it, you know, I don't want to say old school, but traditional is probably the best way of doing it. Especially in this day and age where, you know, games don't want to inconvenience you too much. Unless it's, as you say, Dark Souls. In which case, you're in for the suffering, buddy.
Yeah, and it's especially clear, like, because I definitely felt it when I played this game on launch. This very first level, like, one of the checkpoints I would say, is a very infamous kind of, like, wall that people have to get over. Because mostly comes of what comes at the end. And I think it signifies as well, like, that there is, like, to their credit, they do put a lot of thought into how they pace out, like, all these encounters in a macro sense. Like, way too often, like, the constant checkpointing makes it so that naturally you think of combat in a more micro sense, where it's just the individual encounters and how to optimize for that by itself. Very few games actually approach it in a way where you have to think about not just the one encounter, but how that encounter and your performance is going to factor into encounters 2 and 3 afterwards.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to Bayonetta almost, where each checkpoint you're not just rated on that encounter, but however many, like 3 or 4 encounters plus quick time events that you've done in that period.
The only unfortunate thing with the Bayo example is that, like, it has a checkpointing that, like, really feels like it should be more consistent than it is. Because you might go, like, 2 encounters without a checkpoint, but then you might have one where it's like, oh, you realize that you did not get a pure platinum and you want to restart. Oops, it immediately, like, checkpoints you during the results screen and you can't fix it.
And then the next one is 2 QTEs and, oh, you've got another pure platinum.
Yeah. Man, thank God for Hi-Fi Rush, and how, like, it literally does exactly what I wanted, what I'm describing as the best case scenario, where it is, like, it does checkpoint you before every ranked fight, and you are able to reset immediately after, like, the yes, thanks, Herzog.
Is there a lot of sister fucking in Wisconsin? I don't know.
There's a lot of bad moviegoers. Seems to have like the worst theater horror stories imaginable.
Put down your fucking phone!
Did they build the bomb yet? And then Oppenheimer builds the bomb, and then like that asshole decides to just keep yakking about bullshit for the remaining hour.
I'm glad that the worst experience I ever had was going to see Endgame with someone who was just breathing like they were a terminal cancer patient behind me. Really put me off the entire film, but I was just like, please, for the love of God, clear your throat.
So riot shields are handled much differently than they are in Devil's Third in that, no, you cannot brute force past them with melee.
Damn it.
You actually have to... You can deal with them in a couple of ways. One is that you can obviously toss a grenade and have the splash damage, like basically damage them enough that it makes them drop the shield. But the other, which is uses less resource but is more risky, is having to deflect like their attacks with the shield itself, like twice.
Yeah. What is it with games where shield enemies are consistently the absolute worst?
I don't know. It only feels the worst here because I did not do any practice runs before recording, so I was having to like get reacquainted with the systems very quickly. Not just the systems, but the systems without any of the really good upgrades that come down the line in the game.
Yeah. The sprinkler effects in this are actually really good.
Yeah, like this is an Unreal Engine 4 game, and Soleil's definitely had enough experience working with Unreal Engine since Devil's Third that like they know how to like get enough out of it. I mean, it also helps that they are no longer limited to a system like the Wii U.
Yeah. Like this game, it's not, obviously it doesn't have the polish of a full AAA game, but it's got a look to it, and it's not bad.
Yeah, and like running on PC, especially with the powerful rig that I got, i9 370 and all that, like you lock this shit to 60 FPS, like it is smooth going.
Where's that treasure?
I mean, aside from that one hitch during the pan over in the cutscene, but whatever, that doesn't count. I'm obviously talking about when you're actually playing in motion.
Yeah. So something I've been meaning to ask, seeing so so far you've had your teammates with you constantly, how good are they? Do they actually add any benefits in combat besides giving a distraction, or are they just they can hit a target, but that's not the same as aiming?
So on the skill tree, there are specific skills that you can acquire, specific upgrades that are meant for your teammates, and that is where their usefulness will actually come in.
Right.
There is one ability that is specific to Doc, however, who is with us right now, and I'm pretty sure because of the team currently being split up to cover more ground, this being the first level, it is important that Doc is with us at all times because he has the very helpful ability to revive the player once per checkpoint. That is something that is by default, regardless of skills. Anyway, we got our second grenade type, which I'm not going to use as effectively as, right away because, again, still readjusting. I'm not back to being pro just yet, but the incendiary grenades is like the big key factor into me liking the grenades in this game as much as I do, and how much of a step up it is in their practicality compared to how they were in Devil's Third, where like, the M'Baku trigger or using an RPG was more practical than just tossing a grenade if you wanted an explosive kill.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most of the time you use grenades in that, it was really just to flush enemies out rather than to actually do any damage.
Yeah, and like, and in here, it's still got like the important use of being able to flush out enemies, but you know, there's no reason why you can't also toss multiple out to, like, box someone in so that they have no choice but to take damage. And when you take into account what the incendiary grenades do, you remember how good they were in RE4.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine getting that kind of effect to basically create an area of denial.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
The biggest problem with the incendiaries in RE4 was that they had a radius about the width of a beer coaster.
Yeah, like, they were best for, like, you know, like, their best purpose was, like, tossing them directly at an enemy, and because they exploded on contact, they were practical for that purpose. Like, you threw them only at enemies, because you knew that would stun them and cause a ton of damage over a long period of time.
Yeah.
But here, the incendiary does explode on contact, but you combine them with the regular grenades and your other weapons to, like, box enemies in and set them up for, like, kills. Like, oh, it feels good.
So is the reason why they don't want the zombie squad showing up is because Hannah just keeps taking things? Like, I imagine she's got, like, 50 urns in her room, just because.
She's got an entire wall of katanas, like, decorating her apartment, and she's not telling any of her guests where they came from.
Hey, look at me! I'm the English museums.
Yeah.
Museum.
Yeah.
Steal,
I should
take.
note, when it comes to the finishing moves, you've occasionally been seeing the that shot with, like, with the handgun, where, like, she kind of cocks it sideways and does a little slow-mo. That is the default finisher move that plays if you and your enemy, if the target, are in positions where syncing up one of the 50-plus kill animations is not viable.
Wow.
So that's like a fallback and ensures that, because you remember when we went through Devil's Third, so many of those attack kill animations did not sync up properly half the time.
Yeah, where you're just everyone's kind of sliding into position, but it doesn't quite work. So you know you're cutting off their ankles instead of their head.
Yeah. So a move like that, where you do a special kill using the sidearm and it looks stylish as hell, that is not a bad, like, fallback plan for situations like that, because that's not a Devil's Third exclusive issue. Any game with sync kills has had to wrestle with that problem at some point.
Oh yeah, the Batman Arkham games were infamous for that. Like, so many times everyone would just sort of, like, ever so slightly just glide into position so that Batman could punch someone in the crotch.
Yeah, like, that game's combat is all about gliding all over the place, because apparently that's what it's like to feel like Batman.
I can believe it. That motherfucker is smooth as hell.
Yeah. Anyway, we forgot a couple of guys over here, so we gotta run back. Wall hacks shooting through the pillar. Hey, it's jank in the player's favor. It's okay.
Hey, as long as they're not pulling it for the computer, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. This was me quickly remembering, oh right, you have to hold the grenade button to ready it, and then you press the weapon switch button to change grenades. But more importantly, coming up, I mentioned that there was, like, a checkpoint that is infamous for this level, and that is because of this fucking ninja.
Holy crap, right?
This is the last enemy you fight before you get to the next checkpoint, and it kills everyone.
Okay, who is this guy and why does he look like Deadpool? Oh wait, that's
Attack
just the blood.
ninjas from Ninja Gaiden 2 and Devil's Third will never die. They will always come back to ruin your shit.
I mean, he took like half a dozen rounds in the side of the head and it didn't even phase him.
And this is where what I'm talking about, where it's like Doc being here, even when the team splits up, is super important.
Yeah.
I was trying to set something up with the incendiary grenades, but I was too far away to take advantage of it. But here you go. Try not to think too much about Too Human, because I definitely got PTSD thinking about it when I got to this.
See, I was thinking Pulp Fiction for a second. Jam that needle straight in your heart.
Stone really would have been, like, if this was like a big budget movie, she would have been played by Uma Thurman.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But the good thing about that heal animation actually is that you can't skip it. Thankfully, I just show it the first time that it exists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got no stim packs left. I've already used the revive. If I died here, I would have had to restart the checkpoints.
Ouch.
Yeah, this is where people would probably end up dying the most. And it's so fast. Oh, thanks, Doc. See, they actually were good for something.
Bubba-da. Oh, shit. Bleh.
Thank you. Yeah, I got all my ammo back, health, everything. Proceed like nothing bad ever happened.
For a second there, I was like, why aren't you checking them for drops? Wait, it's not that kind of game.
Definitely not. No. But yeah, it's like that encounter is where you not only die the most a lot of the time, but that's also where more than likely people playing this for the first time would unlock Neko-chan difficulty. Because much like Ninja Dog in Ninja Gaiden Black, it is the easy mode that is meant to make you feel more ashamed than it is to give you an easier time.
It makes me think of the Penny Arcade strip when Devil May Cry first came out, and they discovered that if you die enough times, it unlocks easy difficulty. And one of the characters,
the automatic.
Yeah, one of the characters just goes, "Keep going, see if you can go for ultimate fucking pussy mode."
That was I remember that one.
Yeah, I can easily see that guy being a big roadblock for people just getting used to the controls.
Yeah, because it moves really fast and it expects you to be quick on like pressing the guard button at the last moment in order to deflect each attack. Because that's like an important part of, not only surviving attacks, but when you do it on enemies, that's what builds up like the, like their stagger and sets them up potentially for a finishing move.
Mm.
But yeah, when you select Neko-chan difficulty, when you have it unlocked, it's obviously somewhat easier, but the other big change is that much like how Ninja Dog gave you the purple armband, Neko-chan puts a pair of cat ears on Hannah.
Now, I can easily see people unlocking that just for that reason and that reason.
It's also the sort of thing where whenever I saw previews of like Thor High Heels or Jacob Geller's like videos of this game when it came out, it was like I could immediately tell what difficulty they played on because that was all the footage they had.
I see
it's
your ears, you coward.
Oh, you had a skill issue. How bad for you. Whatever. I can't hold it. Whatever. I can't hold it against Thor too much. I mean, like his whole deal is just putting a spotlight on weird, janky pieces of shit.
Yeah, like he's genuinely like there for the vibes. I think he actually said that at one point when he was talking about one of the, I can't remember if it was Devil May Cry or if it was Ninja Gaiden, where he's like, I'm just not really here for the ludicrous amounts of challenge, which entirely fair.
Totally
like
fair.
With I mean, I remember when DMC3 came out, I had one of my friends telling me that I was, completely worthless shell of a man. And then he told me it was because I played the special edition. And I was like, no, special edition's more fun.
I mean, like, yeah, because it's like, come on, like I get that you want to use that as a point of pride because you did not know any better that they artificially inflated the damage values of Devil May Cry 1 and fucked up the control scheme. But screw you. No, that's not how anyone should play it.
Yeah, I did not come here to impress anyone, and I think I've done a good job of that so far.
I came here to impress people by playing it the way that the developers actually intended. God damn it.
That's why I always go for normal. It's the intended experience.
Amiya didn't intend me to play DMC1 with triangle as the jump button, motherfucker.
God, I still have flashbacks to that.
So it's why I only played the Japanese PS2 version now.
Yep. Just, like, the controls for the original DMC were so monumentally fucked up. Like, ugh.
Fucked up from something that was totally fine before, but Capcom fully drank their own Kool-Aid that America likes harder games.
No, you just really, like, the West was just used to it because they were trying to curtail game rentals.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, it's the 2000s. What are you doing anymore?
Yeah, like, Blockbuster's been dead for a decade. Come on, man.
Yeah, see, that again, that's proving that you can skip the revive animation if it happens.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big open field, all things considered. It still throws me off, especially just how it's like mostly because like when I was playing and recording at this point, how it's like because you can delimb enemies, and there are abilities later in the game you unlock that make it so that enemies that are missing an arm or missing a leg can immediately be insta-killed. And I was still thinking that that was something I could do. It's like my Ninja Gaiden 2 reflexes were failing me.
Yeah, I've noticed that you seem to be mostly cutting off the left arm, seeing as how everyone's right-handed in this. So I'm guessing that you can't like hack off someone's weapon arm and then just have them run up and start kicking in the shins.
I mean, like, I forget if there are if there are also like if both legs, both arms can be dismembered or not. I know it's the sort of thing where I think it's just due to the way that like the hitboxes, or like the hurt boxes on like your katana swings, just kind of ends up like hitting the left arm more than anything.
Yes, it just kind of weird how it's always the left arm, and if it's not on purpose, then it's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Also, was that a chainsaw that I saw?
Yes, it is. That'll get some use later.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah, because it's going to be used as a bit of revenge for earlier. Yeah, like you may not be able to swap to any other melee weapons, which is something where I do kind of wish you could have. You know, like the katana's cool and all, but like give me a sledgehammer, damn it.
Sledgehammer, baseball bat, something, you know.
Yeah, but even then, I can understand why they probably like avoided that, just so that they could afford to give a few more like melee moves to the katana itself. Oh, there you were. That said, trying to hunt down enemies like that are like left as stragglers in a fight isn't too bad a lot of the time. Although there is one encounter halfway through the game where it feels like something fucked up with their AI, where it seems like there's one enemy that is specifically trying to hide out of its way on purpose.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Anyway, guess who's back?
So, have you seen Scarface? Nice.
Yes. Do not ask me why it says censored. I have played this game before at launch where it did not have that censored graphic, and I think something fucked up in like running this game over the course of like the first few months that I was playing it constantly. But at this point, I no longer really care that it's there. It's still satisfying all the same.
It's funnier to imagine you unzipping him like a hoodie.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I choose to believe it's funnier, especially when this game has no problem with you cutting off people's arms and legs anyway.
Yeah. It's just
that's a good reason.
After everything, it's like, okay, but no nut shots with the chainsaw. That's just going a bit too far. Is it though? Is it really?
Is it?
I'm calling shenanigans on that, I'm afraid.
Honestly, considering how absolutely brutal it is to fight that ninja when you don't have every key upgrade in this game, which seems like real wild to think about, because it's like the ninjas do come back like by the end of the game anyway, and by that point you've gained so much more abilities that it's like it feels more like you're on even playing fields at that point.
Always satisfying. It's one of my favorite things where you encounter an enemy that just gives you the worst trouble, and then later on you come back and you're like, okay, prepare to have a one-on-one confrontation with your own teeth, because you're going to be seeing them
and
up
then they
close.
escalate it by being like, here's 2 ninjas, and you still turn out fine. Sometimes. Maybe. It depends. The game is still hard all the same. Like, this is very much a game where they wanted it to be very weird, like a European like director's take on an American 80s action movie, combined with like a Japanese developer whose like key members were known for making one of the most influential, difficult action games of all time.
Yeah, so far I'm getting the vibe that this is like the kind of movie that Canon would have made if they'd had James Cameron's budget for Avatar.
Or they had like a German branch of canon. Or Swiss, again, technically, I guess. Although it's close in proximity.
I mean, Michael Winner made like 80 movies for them, so I don't think they were exactly that fussy about where their directors came from.
That's fair, yeah. Oh yeah, there's one detail I should also mention. Like, of all the enemies you've been seeing, you might have noticed that there was, like, in some of these encounters, there's an enemy that has, like, purple highlights all over. And I actually made a point to go for it, like, as soon as possible. This is something I had no idea of knowing until I started watching speedruns of the game, because it actually ties into playing the game as fast as possible. Those are enemies designed to call in reinforcements if you leave them hanging around. So,
like commanders.
Yeah, which is why it's the sort of thing where it made a lot more sense every time Doc says his line of enemy reinforcements, where I was like, I thought that was just something to denote that the encounter has started. But it's like, no, that actually happens like in the middle if you do not get to the commander fast enough. I don't think it results in like it definitely does not result in like an infinite number of like reinforcements or anything. Like it's just a one-time addition for that particular fight.
Kind of like what Wolfenstein reboots do.
A little, yeah. Although, yeah, but obviously with the, although I think even in like the New Order and beyond, like the enemy encounters do go on basically forever unless you find the guys that are constantly radioing in people.
See, surprisingly, they don't. They will call in like 2 or 3 waves, but once you've taken out the waves, you're good to go. I've been playing the new Colossus, decided to start a new game of it, and that game really nerfed stealth.
It nerfed a lot of things, mainly good level design.
Yeah, music's great though.
Oh yeah, and some delightfully goofy stuff. Actually, oh fuck, I can't believe it. You actually mentioning those Wolfenstein games and just thinking about like the weird tonal shifts that those games has is like, and I am immediately bringing it back to this.
It's just a talent.
It's like that really is just a thing with people in like the central and northern part of Europe, isn't it? They just love like that tonal whiplash, don't they? They just think it's cool.
I mean, it really is like stupid, over the top violence, and then someone going, "Sometimes I wish I could just close my eyes without seeing their faces."
And then my wife is naked and shooting down Nazis, and she's pregnant.
and I am lying there with a visible boner. Talking about BJ Blazkowicz, not me, just so we don't scare everyone off.
Wait, is everyone listening on this channel? Yes. Yes. Max House.
Max House.
Anyway, here's our end of stage boss.
Okay,
spider tank.
Someone was also a really big fan of the movie version of Ghost in the Shell, because I swear this is like right out the final section of it.
Yep. So, there are 2 ways to do this fight. One of them's the cheeky way that I'm not going to do here. I'll probably save that for like a bonus video at the very end where I show how I play this game on Japanese hard with like on New Game Plus. So we're going to do this the intended way, which is you have to go to like the enemy reinforcements that spawn in with grenade launchers, and then steal their grenade launchers and fire it at the spider tank to deal damage.
Makes sense.
You hold 6 grenades at a time before needing to reload, and basically if you do not miss each time, you get it down to half health and you can basically trigger the next phase of the fight. Like so. Grenade in the missile tube, or in the launch tube. I mean, Solid Snake made that work.
I think her name's Hannah.
I got you covered.
Yeah.
Get a lock on.
Oh good. The signal's shit.
So is your sound mixing.
This is why we need subtitles on as by default.
This is your fault. Anyway, this is where the spider tank becomes infinitely more aggressive because it's now charging up like basically like a rail cannon and charging all over the place. It makes it very difficult to line up your grenade shots because of that. As noted by me missing the first time.
Yeah, you gotta love how running around with twin chain guns was its less vicious form.
Yes.
Like, this isn't it being aggressive. This is it being aggressive.
Very aggressive. That said, though, if you want to get an idea of like what the more cheeky way of beating this spider tank boss is that we're not showing, but possibly will like in a bonus video at the end. Basically, you take all you use is your katana, and you do your evasive slide with like the melee hit where she slides forward and does an upward like swing with the katana, and you repeat that and it just. Because the spider tank has a stagger gauge that's invisible, just like all the other enemies, and in doing so, it'll basically fill up its stagger gauge, and you can immediately trigger the second phase, and then trigger the end of the fight, like this.
Oh wow, that is Empire Strikes Back. Going at it with a fucking lightsaber.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like speedrun tech. There are some things where it's like it is always good to look at what games are speedrun viable, because it's less about like I like to learn things from speedruns, not for the purposes of recreating exactly what they do to beat it quickly, but to see if some strategies that they've come up with actually factor in nicely with just the regular playing parts, you know? Like if it adds to the overall efficiency of the normal game plan, then there's no reason not to do it. Like, Metal Wolf Chaos is the one I go to the most, where it's like, you know, you chain air dash is perpendicular the whole way, but that's still good to do even if you aren't playing for the fastest time, because it ensures you don't get hit as often.
Those guns that the faceless soldiers are holding look unwieldy as fuck.
Hope you got your coffin pre-ordered. Stand down, officer.
Sergey, were you drunk when you did that line read?
Sure you don't want to go for another take on that one?
Let him go, Richter.
No, he says as he steps back and whips out a cigarette.
I'm good. I'm good.
And that was Richter.
What happens when twinks go to seed?
His face has seen better days.
Everything has seen better days. It's like when you see like a 40-year-old middle manager going through their midlife crisis, and they decide to really get into whichever like band is popular with their daughter.
Yeah.
What's the point? You can't even fucking use it in this part of the world.
The boys in blue will lock everything up in the evidence room.
Yeah, just do not think so too hard about all the stuff that is being said, especially during like these intentionally serious scenes, because they're going at it with the idea of thinking what is cool. Anyway,
what?
So I spliced this in technically because this is otherwise an optional viewing thing where you get to see what Vivian Nuevonsverfiet's previous life before being the gunsmith in the Hong Kong police was like.
First,
a celebrity
we diced
chef.
This sucker.
Yes, they did come up with as many things as possible to give Stephanie Houston. Why do you ask?
They are literally going to Stephanie Houston and saying, "No, this is how a boyfriend should act. Your last relationship was terrible. Let us treat you properly."
And then she's like, "We'll do this my way." And this was what came out. Yeah, this is, so there are 5 of these videos, I should add. And coincidentally, there are 5 gameplay missions in this game. So, as a tradition for this Let's Play, I am going to cap off every gameplay mission, like, at the end of those videos, with a clip, with one of the 5 videos of Vivian's late night chow.
And is it natural to feel like I'm having a stroke watching this? Because I can feel the embolism forming in my brain.
Now that our onion has been in there,
I'm going to
for a
say
minute,
that it will be
we add
natural
around
to feel
200
uncomfortable for
grams of
Vivian's
minced
sake
beef
because she clearly
and
does
pork.
not want to be here.
She's not a good she's not good at being a chef. I'll say that much.
She's better at firing a gun.
Oh, 100%.
Preferably in an Olympics marksman championship competition.
Pigs went extinct, right?
That is a very concerning line to be told at any point without context.
Now
Well,
we add a tablespoon
yeah.
of tomato paste.
For real, like the actual best part of
Stir
these
it.
cooking show videos is it gives you another humorous
Please use the
insight
good
into like the
tomato
fucked up
paste, not
state
the hipster
of the
one.
world in Wanted Dead, because I mean you saw it with like the kind of the montage of like fake historical events, like when we started this Let's Play. That particular video, when you go through it in the gallery, is called World at War. There was a massive world war that took place where they decided that calling it World War III wasn't good enough. They had to call it World War X.
World War, no,
the most
seriously, we're
important.
done this time.
Yes, and
One
enough
for the
that
team.
it was apparently bad enough that it
And
causes
this
Vivian to
one's
show
for
enough
me.
concern about whether or not pigs are extinct. Also, this is what I was talking about, where it's like, yeah, with all the wine that gets featured in these
Now,
cooking
season
show
it.
episodes, it's like,
Salt.
you know, it's more for her than it is for the
Be
people
generous.
imitating these recipes.
I'll be honest, I'm amazed that she didn't just stick a
Pepper.
crazy straw in and start chugging.
Just like shove the bottle straight in the mouth, lean the
Paprika.
head back, and gulp the whole
Really
thing.
fragrant.
One for the team.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me. Oh my
Yeah.
god, those people are not gonna have any taste buds left.
Oh, that is way too much paprika. Yeah, I mean,
Leave it
like
that for about
like,
5 hours.
I've not
And
watched
now a
cooking
word
shows,
from
let
our
alone
sponsor.
celebrity cooking shows. But I think it's like it give.
Berserker.
Oh
Human
god, these
flesh
fucking
flavor.
sponsorships! I forgot.
Dog fighting breed only.
Human flesh
One bite.
flavor.
Yeah, just so we're
What
clear, this
happened
is
at
for the
s-
dogs, right? Because it's on what I assume to be a cooking
No
program
time to
for
chill.
humans.
Time to assemble the gravy.
That or someone, I mean, you know, something happened during World War X where human meat got mixed in with the MREs, and people suddenly had the horrible realization that, oh no, this
Put the
tastes
leaves on
good.
top.
What do we do? Can we synthesize this? What is the most ethical way we could get human flesh
Never
flavored meat?
And
I don't
never,
know.
ever,
I think
under
if
any
you're at a
circumstances,
point where you're
pre-cook
asking
your
what
lasagna.
is the most ethical way to get human
More
flesh
sauce.
flavor, you've already lost.
That said, though, even though the way that she's doing these recipes is like all forms of
Mozzarella
concerning,
cheese.
it has been giving me like ideas in my mind, like as I
White
expand my
lotus
cooking
Satan's
repertoire,
armpit.
living on my own, that it's like I really should start making my own homemade lasagna, because it's like it's been a
More
while
sauce.
since I've had any lasagna, and the times that I have, it's usually been like, you know, going out to buy it.
Yeah. Lasagna is
Yeah,
one of
because
those things.
that's
it's
a
like
nice filling food.
it's one of those things where I'm like, I would never go out of my way
Parm
for it,
on
but if
top.
someone said, "Hey, do you want some?" I'd be like, "Oh hell yeah!"
Yeah. That there was a big chunk
Never
of like
buy
cheese in
grated
like that
cheese.
quarter that did not get
Always
grated
grated
properly, and
No,
it's just
that
like,
was
Idiot.
terrible.
200 degrees, 15 minutes.
yeah, just everything about this is so awkward and weird. I mean, even look at that. You know,
That's like
the way that
15
the-
layers.
Have it. The
You
real
you definitely
hard
know.
stopper.
Like, no one needs to actually watch a cooking show to understand that, like, when they show the finished result, that it is clearly they pre-made it elsewhere, because they are not going to use, like, whatever the celebrity was making on air for the past 15 minutes.
Yeah, bull fucking shit. That was the lasagna she made.
Yeah, because it looked good. I want that.
My
Oh,
faith
man.
in this game has just plummeted through the floor. I mean, god damn.
I mean, I thought it would have skyrocketed with all, like, the wacky bullshit. Like, you're clearly on board with this.
Oh, 100%. This is scratching, like, this is scratching my bad movie itches like nothing I've ever seen before.
And it's gonna keep scratching it more and more till you get gaseous.
I'm okay with that.